Hello, Internet! So nice to see you. Today I'm going to answer a lot more of your questions.
Visualize the fretboard as pianos stacked on top of each other.
Wait, what? Are you serious? That's not a joke? You know what? This idea of visualizing all the strings as piano, to me is completely backward, honestly. Because I get that for a piano player, the piano is more intuitive because it's linear. But guys, those are strings. The string is an actual line. It's more linear. If anything, I will tell you, visualize the piano as a string, okay? I would go completely the opposite. But I mean, if you find that visualizing the sixth string as 6 different pianos, okay, one on top of each other, shifted by a fourth or whatever, it's easier for you, I mean, more power to you. But I think it's making it too complex. Okay, every string is really intuitive. Every time you go up a fret, you go up a half step in pitch. Okay, this is simpler than a piano because the piano has all the black and white keys, etc., etc. This is way more linear. I think we should do the opposite.
Why do you subtract 9?
This is a question on how to invert interval, okay? So whenever you have an interval and you change the order of the notes, the interval changes. So for instance, if I have a third, a major third, say from C to E, okay, C to E, it's a major third. This if I play the C lower and the E higher. But if I play the E lower and the C higher, okay, always in the same octave, this interval is a sixth, not a third anymore. So E, then C, C higher, is an interval of a sixth. While C lower to E higher, it's an interval of a third. Okay, kind of a formal thing, okay, but it's important to know those intervals because later they become important and they help you making music. Why do I subtract 9? Well, and here's the answer that sounds like a joke at the beginning, because a third plus a sixth, it's an octave, which means 8. Right, it sounds like a joke, right? But that's the thing. In the strange way we have to count the intervals, we are counting the beginning note and the end note. So for instance, in the scale, C to E is a third because it contains the notes C, D, and E. I mean, there are, between C and E, there are C, D, and E notes. So it's a third because there are 3 notes. While E to C, it's E, F, G, A, B, C. So there are 6 notes. Now, in theory, we should have 8 notes from C to C, but we are counting the E twice because of this strange way of counting the intervals. So, whenever you invert an interval, the 2 intervals sum to a number 9, which, or a musician will say they sum to an octave. I know it's confusing. I didn't make this system. The 9, so subtract from 9, it's a mnemonic way that it's easy to remember and it works every time. When you invert an interval, subtract the number from 9. A fifth becomes a fourth, a second becomes a seventh, a third becomes a sixth, and vice versa.
The only few people I know who play guitar and also appreciate music theory and the classical genre. A lot of the modern day musicians I know just disregard the classical genre and think of all of them to be boring, as if they were all beginner level Mozart-esque music.
Well, let's say that the answer is yes, no, and maybe, because it depends who you ask, okay? I consider myself a modern musician. I don't play much classical music, but I really love theory, and I know a lot of people who are exactly the same, and they do appreciate classical music. I mean, just because I don't play classical music, it doesn't mean I don't listen to classical music, okay? Or I cannot appreciate it. What I see is that there are definitely some specific groups or cliques of people where people who listen only to classical music, people who listen only to jazz, people who listen only to extreme death metal, people who listen only to the free jazz, English free jazz punk, okay, or stuff like that. I like all the music. I know a lot of people who like all music. I don't know if it's really true that modern musicians don't appreciate theory. It's true that many modern players, many non-professional modern players want to be able to play everything immediately without going through theory. It is true that if you go on Facebook or Twitter or other places like that right now, it's full of teachers telling you that you don't have to learn theory. That is true. It's unfortunate. because you have to learn theory. I'm sorry. I mean, but it's a great clickbait today to say you don't have to learn theory. So I agree with you on that. But I think that there are several modern musicians making great music that like their theory, they're really competent in that, and they're using it to make great music.
Only with very interesting and well-explained content is it possible to bear such an awful English. The concepts learned are worth the tremendous effort for the ear. Thanks.
The backhanded compliment. Only the most clever can pull this off successfully.
Hashtag BeardofKnowledge.
That's because at the beginning of times, I make a vow, and I said I would never shave until I can explain music theory to all the world. And also, I actually like the beard, so I'm going to keep it anyway.
I can't begin to tell you how much you've changed my playing over the past few months since I started watching your videos. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I really love this kind of feedback. And I think you mentioned a very important thing here is that it took some time, okay? So here's the thing, guys. You're going to watch those videos. Sometimes you understand everything I say in those videos, sometimes you don't, and sometimes it takes a little bit of practice. The important thing is do one small thing every day. Keep practicing those things. If you need help, I have courses. I can help you further. Just send me an email and we can find what works for you. Otherwise, just keep watching the free videos on my channel. There's nothing wrong in that. I mean, I'm putting them out as free videos because I want you guys to watch them. So no problem either way. The important point is stick to it. Give it a little bit of time. It takes time to get better, but then you do get better, okay? So keep practicing and kudos for your improvement.